ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa has withdrawn from his engagements in Kimberley this morning, but he'll still deliver a keynote address tonight as the party gears up for its 108th birthday celebrations this weekend. Political analyst Karima Brown joins me in the studio. Very good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
What does the statement need to have in it?
Well, I am looking at my phone, and what is really interesting is that people I have been speaking to have been saying that COSATU's spokesperson, Sizwe Pamla, has gone on radio in Cape Town, Radio 786, and called for a cabinet reshuffle. And I am in touch with COSATU officials who have not confirmed this publicly, but the station manager at the radio station has spoken to me about it. And let me tell you what he's just said. He has said from his interview with Sizwe Pamla, saying that there is no knowledge of reshuffle, but says in the event that there is a reshuffle, Pravin Gordhan should be redeployed. So I think the cancellation of President Cyril Ramaphosa's walkabout is as a result of furious behind-the-scenes politicking about the crisis at Eskom. We saw the way in which Didi Mabuza, the Deputy President of the country and of the African National Congress, responded yesterday. And what is interesting, Jane, is of course that it is Mabuza that reports to the President on the cabinet cluster that is dealing with the issues. For example, Minister Pravin Gordhan is not in Kimberley, he's actually here sorting out the matters. So it's important that we get clarity both from the government, from the African National Congress and its allies on what exactly the position is regarding how they're going to deal with this political problem around Eskom, because there's a lot of blame going around. The ANC Youth League in the Free State, which is seen to be a kind of proxy for the state capture forces, have also just released a statement calling for Pravin Gordhan's axing. So there is a very concerted attempt to use the Eskom crisis to launch an assault on President Ramaphosa. And as we spoke yesterday and the day before, Jane, there is a midterm review coming up around Ramaphosa's performance inside the African National Congress. And I think these people are now beginning to reveal their hand. What we need to find out is where exactly the Deputy President of the African National Congress stands on this matter.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, are we seeing a regrouping? Is he getting closer to Ace Makhishula? I mean, what is happening
here?
Look,
he is still blamed by the people who backed Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma for having betrayed them. He was the big turncoat at Nasrec. So Didi Mabuza is a man who is a very astute politician, but he faces his own credibility problems. He faces his own corruption allegations that he's managed to kind of shut down a lot. But yesterday, I actually thought about whether this is the first shot across the bow from Mabuza to make a play, because when we look at how the ANC factions do battle, Jane, they choose proxies through which to fight. So, for example, there's no ANC Youth League actually, and yet the ANC Youth League in the Free State of all places releases a statement, right? You have an individual that goes onto the radio station in Cape Town and essentially says there must be a reshuffle, and if there is a reshuffle, Pravin Gordhan should be redeployed. When confronted with the fact that whether this is a formal position of COSATU, backtracks and says, well, in the event that there's a reshuffle, this is what we want. So, like I said, there is a realignment going on, and the key question is Cyril Ramaphosa in charge? I believe he is, but I think what he's managed to do and what the Eskom crisis has managed to do is to lure out those who really oppose him. And the key question, of course, that Mr. Mabuza now owes the African National Congress, the answer that he needs to give them is whether he is with the president or against him. And that, of course, goes to the point of whether Ramaphosa is possibly going to have to take on Didi Mabuza to stay in office beyond a 5-year term.
How dangerous a time is it for Cyril Ramaphosa right now?
Extremely dangerous. I think the situation is extremely volatile, and I think, politics are about sets of interests. So the patronage networks, obviously, in the African National Congress runs deep. But here's the thing, Jane, the patronage networks in Eskom also runs deep. There are people that are attached to coal. There are people who stand to benefit financially from it. There are people who are lobbying for independent power producers for both financial and ecological and climate change reasons. So this is going to be a very interesting period. And of course, Cyril Ramaphosa has to, as we always say, manage all of these interests. There's also the fact that COSATU has pushed for what they call a just transition, so they don't want jobs lost. But what does a job mean if your house burns down because you're not paying attention to the climate? So very dangerous times indeed. The president is someone who keeps his powder dry, keeps his cards close to his chest, but he's going to have to make a move sooner rather than later.
Goodness me, never a dull moment.
Yes.
Karima, thank you.
Pleasure.